I think we brought a show to daytime television that they always wanted, and no one gave it to them, and we got lucky. And
well, luck only takes you so far. The rest was Donahue. Those were some of the theme songs that opened the Phil Donahue show that ran from 1967 to 1996, 29 years. Wow.
It took a long time for anybody to either copy us or try to challenge us with what we were doing. First of all, there was a real anxiety about our format. Who are we? What is this? It's not interesting visually. Wait a minute, it's not Hollywood. It's nothing we're familiar with.
And that pioneering talk show legend passed away at the age of 88 yesterday. And the talk show greats that followed in his footsteps are paying tribute, including Oprah, who wrote, "There wouldn't have been an Oprah show without Phil Donahue being the first to prove that daytime talk and women watching should be taken seriously. He was a pioneer. I'm glad I got to thank him for it. Rest in peace, Phil."
Personally, I want to thank you for opening the door so wide enough for me to walk through, because had there not been a Phil Donahue, I don't believe there could have been an Oprah. I personally thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Montell Williams wrote, "Phil Donahue wasn't just a talk show host. He was the godfather of the genre. He broke barriers with audience participation on pressing issues, setting a standard that many of us strive to live up to. My heart goes out to his family. Rest in peace, Phil. Your legacy will live on." Sally Jessy Raphael tweeted that this was a very sad day. "I admired Phil Donahue for many reasons, and he was one of the finest broadcasters in American television. If there wasn't a Phil, there never would have been a Sally." And there was a Sally on Daily Blast Live today.
There are so many different types of talk shows, but Phil was the first and the most important talk show host. He started something. He got the idea of standing in the audience. He's the one who brought the audience into talk shows.
So this is our attempt to give you an opportunity to express yourself and ask Minister Farrakhan to respond. Whom didn't we? Yes.
Geraldo Rivera tweeted a photo from 2010 of some of the talk show heavyweights from the late 80s, early 90s era gathering on Oprah's show. Geraldo wrote today that Phil's death deeply saddens him. He was a hero, a talk show pioneer who inspired me to try my hand at the genre he invented. What a historic figure. I'm profoundly sorry for the loss his death represents to Marlo and his family and to society. He was the most important talk show host ever. He recognized that the daytime TV audience was underserved. He remembered the homemakers and gave them an avenue to the rest of the world. A giant has passed. I think Ricki Lake borrowed Geraldo's photo and just happened to cut Geraldo and Montell out of the frame. Maybe she didn't realize she had to format it differently on Instagram to get it all in the frame. Maybe. Ricki wrote, "Raising a glass in honor of the great Phil Donahue. Phil was an absolute legend and a pioneer in the talk show space. The GOAT. So honored to stand beside him at Oprah's show celebrating talk show icons in 2010. Such a warm, super supportive, brilliant man. Grateful for the path he paved and the legacy he has left behind. May he rest in peace." Katie Couric wrote a little bit of a bio of Phil in her tribute to him. She wrote in part, "So sad to hear this news. Legendary talk show host Phil Donahue died on Sunday night following a long illness. He was 88 years old. Donahue won 20 Emmy Awards and paved the way for so many other daytime talk show hosts. He will be missed." Yeah, so Phil won 9 Emmys for Best Daytime Talk Show Host. That's the most of anyone. Oprah won 7, while Rosie won 6. Rosie started her own iconic show 4 months before Phil signed off the air in September 1996. Today she wrote on Instagram, "A beautiful man in every way. I will miss him. All my love to Marlo and the grown kids."
oh, we're going to take this audience home.
Yep.
Ellen DeGeneres Instagrammed a clip of when Phil and wife Marlo Thomas were on her show in 2010, writing, "Phil Donahue was a daytime TV legend. I'm sending love to his wife Marlo Thomas and their family."
The two of you together have broken down so many barriers. What you did on your show and what the books that you've written. I admire and thank you both for everything that you've done. Really.
Kelly Ripa shared this snapshot of the two couples with the caption, "Good friends are hard to come by and even harder to lose. To a life well lived. We love you, Marlo, and we'll miss Phil eternally."
I know it's not, Van Gogh, it's not Beethoven, but it's Talk TV's version of it. He was uniquely talented.
Megyn Kelly, who had Phil on her NBC morning show during her brief stint, looked to Phil as one of her role models.
Donahue managed to open the door to discussing some of the most divisive subjects of our time, from abortion, back when, it wasn't discussed, to sexual abuse to very heated segments on the state of race relations in America.
Along with his many Emmys,
Phil Donahue.
Phil received the Presidential Medal of Freedom this past May, and while he was clearly frail, he still knew how to work an audience.
From Irish Catholic roots in Cleveland, Phil Donahue rose to transform television and reshape the national conversation. Over 29 years, nearly 7,000 episodes, and 20 Emmys, he pioneered the live daytime talk show, holding a mirror up to America. He interviewed everyone from our greatest stars to our forgotten neighbors, uniting us around the toughest issues of our time. Insatiably curious and accepting, he saw every guest as worthy of interest and worked to build understanding, bringing us to see each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans.
Yeah, it's great to hear from all these other talk show hosts, because who would know better, what Phil did for the TV landscape than the ones who stepped into that landscape that he created for all of them.
I didn't want to be responsible for criticizing anybody else. So when people would ask me, what do I think of all these other shows, I would say they're all my illegitimate children and I love them all equally.
Rest in peace, Donahue.
I think we chose the right time to walk, and I've never regretted it. Every once in a while I check and see what is Ricki doing.